I feel like the one thing we must not do is doubt ourselves. I think in recognizing that it's only our mental capacity that truly decides what it is that we can do, then we have to be the ones to decide something that actually benefits us. I think sometimes when we allow ourselves to live in doubt, we allow ourselves to sort of paint ourselves out of the picture as if our entire life has been tending towards something without us in it. And that's never really the case. That never can be the case. I think it's not necessarily just about doubting your ability or doubting your, I don't know, your future or something like that. But I think many of us just doubt ourselves on a personal basis. Not necessarily always in reference to our goals or aspirations, but in reference to the life that we live. Instead of allowing our thoughts to sort of guide us towards some type of positivity, we often use them in a way that degrades our experience. Like, if we have anything to do, we always doubt our ability to get it done in time. Or if we have something else to do, we doubt our ability to uh, do it with, I don't know, within our own standards. And what I'm recognizing is the only way to sort of be free from doubt in this way is to subtly free ourselves from the expectations that bind us. Not to say that we don't want to perform in ways that are good, but to say that sometimes we set our expectations beyond who we think we are. So either we have to raise who we think we are, or we have to lower our expectations. Not to say that we shouldn't expect good from ourselves, but to say when we have overzealous expectations that don't really align with who we are, then all we're often left with is disappointment, and then greater reason to doubt ourselves and our capabilities. Not saying that we aim too high, but to say we often degrade ourselves in our aiming because we don't recognize how much we are capable of getting that which we expect. And in that way, we create some type of mental relationship to ourselves that doesn't really allow, us to occupy it. And I think, if anything, our mind should be occupied by us. Like even this morning, I was recognizing how I was getting caught up in a bunch of thoughts and ideas that really had nothing to do with my actual development and things that I wanted to do with my day. And just having that subtle presence with my own mind, I sort of recognized that the opportunity was all mine. The choice was all mine and what I wanted to vest and focus on and keep in my mind, I guess. And until we start deciding for ourselves what we want to have in our mind, we're often going to defer to what we're told. We're often going to defer to our doubt and what we've been constantly telling ourselves. Just as much as we can doubt ourselves, we can have optimism for what is yet to come. And I don't know why it is so much easier to believe in negative circumstance when they don't accommodate us as passively. And I think part of it is because of how much we vest ourselves within our expectations. We learn to love ourselves via how much we are able to consistently reach our goals and reach our expectations. And I think it's not about that at all. I think the main reason we doubt is because we don't have enough confidence in who we are, void of how things always look. And not to say confidence is something that has nothing to do with how things are outside, but to say that any feeling that we have is always an internal relationship. And until we recognize that we have to give to ourselves in order to have that relationship, then we'll always think that we have to sort of live our life in a predetermined or set way, or act or express ourselves in a certain way in order to be valid in who we are, but that's never the case. Our validity has never been determined by how we are reacted to, but how we react. How we react to ourselves and how we react to our doubt at times. And I think it's easy to sort of be passive in your times of doubt, passive in your times of a lack of faith or a lack of determination because it's easy. It's like not doing anything. And I think sometimes in that inaction, a lot of us feel a subtle comfort because we are within a known. Because we know if we do nothing, we'll get nothing. So it's like we haven't lost anything at all. I mean, to be honest, I think that type of stagnation is what we're sort of pushed to do with ourselves in our times of doubt. I think sometimes this sort of doubt is created to keep many of us stuck in our own idea of ourselves and our capabilities when we are often a lot more vast than we get credit for. And when I say we're more vast than we get credit for, I mean that we often can achieve much more than we are told. Because what we are told is not necessarily in reference to our entire lives, but more so in reference to simple characteristics that people attach to us. And I think it's important to be the one to sort of acknowledge your internal workings for their beauty, their splendor, and their vastness, and recognize that you contain so much within you that hasn't even been expressed yet. There are parts of yourself that you have yet to remember. And those parts of yourself can be the parts that lead you to exactly where you need to go. And I think through our doubt, we don't find those pieces truly. I think all we find within our doubt is reasons to go back to familiar ways of being, reasons to go back to previous versions of ourselves, reasons to be the person we were in the past, rather than inviting something new into the present. Because inviting something new into the present takes us not doubting ourselves enough to actually be within the present. Sometimes the present moment to me is really just shaking off words. It's recognizing that you don't have to constantly be thinking about everything and labeling everything within your vicinity. Many times we have to learn how to let things just be, and I think those are the only ways we let ourselves be. Because who we are is not necessarily always determined by truly everything outside of us, but everything within. Everything that we allow to be characteristic of us. Everything that we allow to be a part of us, including our doubt. And if we wish to get rid of that, it's not necessarily like kicking it out. It's about transmuting it. Because doubt and confidence are the same thing on different sides of the same scale. And until we learn how to push one towards the other side, we will constantly think that we have to instantiate some type of new emotion. Doubt is confidence. It's confidence towards a negative thing. It's the same exact thing as confidence because we have confidence that that certain thing is going to occur. And I think in living within these certain certainties, we sort of deprive ourselves with the opportunity to figure things out, to sort of smile and watch, to sort of be a part of our experience long enough to recognize that that sort of doubt and feeling really does nothing to our experience because there is no future. There's no past to overcome either. Everything that is right now. So any doubt that we have isn't necessarily into the future. It's right now. It's limiting our present capabilities to actually work towards the things that we want. And that's why I think it's really a hindrance, because we aren't really giving ourselves a real opportunity to do the things that we want to do with what we have. And I think doing what you can with what you have is pretty much all we ever can do. So any overzealous doubt about our ability and conduct don't really do anything for us. I'm recognizing that in trying to achieve anything and trying to do anything and trying to be anything, we have to give ourselves the space to do so, the space to be, the space to explore ourselves for all of that we contain. And what we contain is often much more than anything that we've ever fathomed. And that's why I think the beauty of life isn't found in thought. It's found in our ability to be present enough to recognize both the parts of ourselves that seek out change and the parts of ourselves that are constantly shining. The parts of ourselves that remain in the most turbulent times. The beauty of the world that exists even when the things that we deem beautiful aren't present. Because beauty never really escapes the moment we do. And when I say we escape the moment, I mean we often get encumbered or trapped or caught in our own thoughts about either ourselves or our circumstances to the point where we can't appreciate the things around us. And that's something I've been thinking about as well as gratitude. I feel like I haven't been as grateful recently, and I think the only reason is because I've been allowing things to live in reference. I've been allowing things to not, let me restart that. I've been allowing my gratitudes to live in reference to each other. And I think that's one of the things we can't do, is allow our gratitudes to live in reference to each other. Because my gratitude for this thing has nothing to do with my gratitude for another. Even if they are similar, I like this thing because it's this. I like that thing because it's that. And I don't use examples because I don't really want to think of an analogy. But I think the greatest amount of freedom and gratitude that we can have is allowing our gratitudes to be by themselves and allowing each of them to sort of add to the light that is you. Allowing them to sort of be a collective gratitude, but full of individual parts, just like we as people are. And I think the second we do that, all of the world is constantly being sort of swallowed up by this gratitude, swallowed up by this idea of a beauty that continues to spread beyond everything you're grateful for. We find that our mind often finds whatever we prompted with. And if we train our minds and ideas and thoughts to find things to be grateful for, then often we find more gratitude, and often we live a life full of more gratitude. And I think there really is no reason to not implore gratitude whenever you have the opportunity. I think that's one of the things that also kills doubt is our constant acknowledgement of what's currently here. Our acknowledgement of the fact that we've overcome every single thing that has led us to this moment and we are still alive to boot. We're still able to continue to move forward. And I think that's something to be grateful for in and of itself. I think if we aren't grateful for our lives as a prerequisite, then we're often grasping at straws when it comes to finding things to be grateful for outside. Because the only reason we're able to appreciate anything outside is because we have an inside. Because we're alive enough to recognize and aware enough to recognize that there are things beyond us. And in those things beyond us, we recognize our gratitude. Not because those things are gratitude themselves, but because we are the ones who give gratitude towards that thing. And in that way, we receive it. Because every feeling that we feel towards anything is always felt by us. So the importance is to recognize what you're making yourself feel. In thinking about your goals, are you making yourself feel negative about them? And is that negativity in reference to your actual ability or in reference to your insecurity? And I think it's easy to be insecure nowadays when it comes to anything, because we often ground who we are not in who we are, but in what we see. And what we see often doesn't contain the things that we want in our future. All it contains is what's right now. So until we get an opportunity to appreciate all the things that we have brought into our lives presently, including ourselves, then we'll often be waiting on a time to come to appreciate ourselves. And when that time comes, we'll often be waiting on something else. I think that's the entire idea of this rat race, is never learning when to be satiated, never learning how to be satiated in the first place. We think that we have to climb up this hierarchy and this ladder until we can reach some point where we're better than everyone else, living in reference again. And then we call ourselves good, and then we call ourselves grateful for the life we have. But I think, true Zen, true gratitude is without reference. It doesn't matter what position you are relative to anybody. You can be grateful for what you have yet to experience. You can be grateful for what you have experienced, good and bad. Not only because it's brought you to the moment, but because often it's given us insight and ability to recognize more parts of ourselves than normal. Like even when I experience negative things, subtly I'm grateful because I get to experience that aspect of myself. I think anything that inspires us to an emotion other than self-pity should be something we're happy about. Like even our sadness, even our anger, because it makes us recognize where we're placing our value in both ourselves and the world around us. Whether or not we think we deserve more, whether or not we should be giving to ourselves more. And I think that in lies the beauty of everything. Is recognizing that you really do find yourself in everything if you're present enough to see it. If not, you think that everything is you. You think that you find your anger is you. You think that your sadness in you without recognizing that that's how you find yourself. You're being presented constantly with an opportunity to find yourself, constantly with more of yourself. Every interaction, every interpretation, every impression that you have of the world around you is often painted with the colors that you carry within yourself. So until we give ourselves an opportunity to sort of be beyond our doubt for the moment and allow ourselves to sort of mesh into the moment, we'll constantly think that things need to be different when they never really do. What needs to be different is us. What needs to be different is our outlook. What needs to be different is our perspective of our own gratitudes, of the life that we live. Because you can be, I don't even know how to explain it. Like you can change the way you experience your entire life if you're present enough to do so. And you can sort of flip every single narrative that you've had around the world and had about yourself in a way that actually allows you to be happy where you are regardless. And of course, there are certain things that will shake you up. But if you ground yourself in a certain gratitude and keep that as your foundation and learn to implement confidence within this gratitude, being grateful for what is yet to come, then what is yet to come will always be something worth gratitude, no matter what it is. And I think it's important regardless, whatever comes into our life, to recognize it as something that can only lead to more good for us. What we paint something as is often what it does for us. And if you believe in manifestation or law of attraction or anything like that, it always has to do with what input we give to the present moment, and more so how we react to ourselves. I think if we recognize that life comes from us, not at us, then the life that we're constantly creating shouldn't be reacted to in a negative way that perpetuates negativity. I think we need to learn how to live in our own personal world of positivity and not contribute to our own negativity, because we're the only one who truly experiences it in a real way. We must give ourselves an opportunity to be beyond doubt. I think it's a Lao Tzu quote. A true warrior puts himself beyond doubt, beyond the possibility of defeat. Because what's the point in constantly thinking that we'll be defeated? And that's not to say we don't prepare for the oncoming battles ahead of us, but to recognize that nothing ever really has to be a battle. Everything can really just be as it is. And you can continue to be as you are. And if what you are is grateful, then that's all that will be. That's all that is, in a way. And all that's really to say that I think we need to learn how to be more grateful for ourselves and the things that we experience. Because we only really get to experience everything right now. And if we want to put it on time, we only get to experience it once. Like, even if while I'm looking out my window right now, I'm only going to be able to look at this window at this moment with the light hitting this like that once. So what's the point in constantly being stuck in my thought when there's constantly new things to be grateful for that I will miss a chance to see if I'm not present enough to? All that's to say, thank you. Keep being great. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, doing what you can, what you have. A lot on the way, a lot already here. Hardcover should be right there, pretty much right there. Ebook soon, very soon.